Hi, this is Aaron Young, CEO of Laughlin Associates and author of the best-selling book, The Corporation Manual. You know, I get a lot of people that ask me questions about limited liability companies. First of all, LLCs are great business entities. Used properly, they're one of the most dynamic and useful and fun and fair structures that you can organize. Used incorrectly, they're a waste of money and won't give you any value or any protection at all. So let's talk just a little bit about a couple of the misunderstandings about LLCs so that you can make sure you're doing the right thing for your company and for your enterprise. First of all, LLCs, limited liability companies, are really an upgraded partnership. They're designed specifically so that when 2 or 3 or more of us come together to work on a project, that we're protected from each other, really. That's really what it's designed for. And also so that the problems within the business enterprise don't go out and hurt our individual families. But really, primarily, LLCs are designed to limit our liability from each other. Consequently, a one-member LLC, just one owner of a LLC, which I see all the time, is really a poor use of the limited liability company. A one-member LLC as an operating business only gives you one way of being taxed, that's to be taxed like a sole proprietor. Doesn't give you any asset protection. It's considered a look-through entity from a legal perspective, a pass-through entity from a tax perspective. So basically, you're paying fees to some state, but you're acting just like a sole proprietor. So as an operating business, a one-member LLC, not a good choice. Also, the law considers spouses to be one member. So if you're married and your spouse is also involved with that company as a owner, remember that from a legal perspective or a tax perspective, you're still considered to be a one-member LLC. The other thing that's really interesting is statutorily, that is the law that was written in almost all 50 states for LLCs was designed purposefully so that LLCs would not have to do the corporate formalities that corporations do. That is to say, there wouldn't have to be board of director meetings, minutes kept to those meetings, resolutions passed. All right, so that's great. However, in the United States of America, statutory law is important, but case law, where there's a precedent set, is more important. It trumps the statute. And so here's the reality. Remember I said LLCs were designed to be an upgraded partnership. So if there's a partner, that means there's 2 people at least, maybe more. And sometimes those people don't get along. Just like in a marriage, sometimes there's divorce. We see all the time partnership divorces where people say, I can't work with you anymore, or that's not fair, or you're frustrating me, or whatever. If things heat up, somehow they have to be either mediated or adjudicated. So that means you're going to go to somebody to help you resolve your difference. And when you get especially in front of the court, or if you're going through a tax audit examination and there's a disagreement among the owners as to what was done in this particular situation or that particular expense or whatever, there's got to be some documents that say, oh, well, here's exactly what we decided. Consequently, the courts have held up over and over and over again that LLCs do indeed need corporate formalities. If there's more than one person involved, you need to have meetings, you need to have minutes or records of what happened at those meetings, and resolutions, decisions that were made at those meetings and that provide the permission slip. Remember this, a resolution is the permission slip from the board to the president to go and do some sort of action. So, yes, statutorily, you may have heard that the law says that LLCs just don't have to do corporate formalities. That's statute. That's not case law. That's not precedent. Precedent shows you need to keep good corporate records all the time, any meetings, any decisions, and those resolutions need to be passed at or near the time of any significant decision. In a small company, almost anytime you spend money, that's a significant decision. okay? Maybe not going to buy paper clips, but if you're buying a phone system, if you're buying new computers, if you're leasing office space, opening a bank account, changing CPAs, deciding on officers' pay, giving yourself a car allowance, hundreds of things like that are common things, all have to be documented in resolutions, both in corporations and in LLCs. And remember, a one-member LLC is a poor use of excellent law. You need to have 2 or more people, and those 2 people should not be married. If they're married, that's treated as one, okay? Multiple members of LLCs, keeping good records, provide you the best asset protection, most flexibility in your tax reporting, and the most safety for the members involved of any other business structure out there. Make sure that if you're using an LLC, you're getting the most bang for your buck.